Hi, and welcome back to the Able Trust video series, Building Organizational Capacity through the Catch a Fire platform. My name is Guinevere Crum, Senior Vice President at the Able Trust and host of this series. I have with me today Jody Ellis of ARC Broward, an organization that has been a past grantee of the Able Trust and a current recipient of capacity building support through an Able Trust sponsored membership on Catch a Fire. Catch a Fire is a skills-based volunteer platform that connects nonprofit organizations with professionals hoping to donate their skills and knowledge to make a difference. Welcome, Jody. Could you share a little bit about your background and the mission of ARC Broward for those that may not already be familiar with you?
Yeah, sure. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jody Ellis, and I am the Vice President of Workforce Services at ARC Broward. And ARC Broward is a non-for-profit community service organization in Broward County, Florida, in the Fort Lauderdale area. And we support people with disabilities and other life challenges. We have about 20 different program services, ranging from babies all the way to seniors in retirement.
Wonderful, thank you. So you received this invitation from the Able Trust to get started on the platform. What was your approach to this invitation, and how did you get started on Catch a Fire?
Yeah, great. So after I attended the initial learning seminar that was hosted by Catch a Fire directly. And, I did, from that training, I did see some of the projects that might be available. I was really interested in the initial information that I received. So I kind of was very intentional about how ARC Broward could really take advantage of this capacity building opportunity. And I felt like we had some gaps where really Catch a Fire experienced volunteers could really help us. So first thing I did, obviously, was sign myself up. Then I created the ARC Broward page, and this is really easy to do for organizations. It doesn't take a lot of time or research. It's basically posting information about your mission, your logo, very simple and quick to do. Next, I invited members of the organization that I really thought could benefit from the platform, and I specifically wanted to include our development staff member as well as our marketing staff member, because I really felt in those two areas, I hear sometimes, oh, I don't have enough time, or oh, I'm sorry, I'm delayed in this, but I'm getting to you. So I hear some of those responses and I'm like, wow, this platform could really help them. So inviting team members to sign up. And then I looked at the different projects that Catch a Fire had in a little bit more detail outside of the learning webinar, just at my own time. And then I, took a look at those projects and then looked internally to ARC Broward to see like what our gaps were, whether it be a skills gap or just not having enough depth in the staff to be able to complete some of the things that we had. And then just started creating some priorities of things that I was going to start working on.
Great. So what was one of your first projects that you guys got started on? Because I know there are a lot of competing needs across the board. What was your first project?
Sure. So the first project that I posted was for an infographic to be created for us, and specifically for our ArcWorks program, which is an employment career center program for people with disabilities. And I specifically selected this because I knew it was limited in scope. It was a one-piece deliverable, and I thought it would be a great way to get my feet wet in the projects instead of going to like a bundled service right off the bat. So I had posted for infographic, and it was really, again, easy to post. I probably had about 4 volunteers that responded right away, like within the first 24 hours. And I just really started meeting or talking with or email exchanging with the first volunteer who applied, and started chatting with him and emailing with him. And actually that was the volunteer that I went with, and he actually is in California area, and he works for the movie industry, but he does marketing, I guess, for the movie industry. So it was kind of nice to just get outside perspective of that. And I supplied our branding guidelines, and he complied with that, and developed one piece. And I would say probably the project took maybe a total of 6 weeks, because the volunteer was very clear that he could only devote an hour of time one time a week, and he told me what day it was. So
Yeah, okay.
I knew like when I was going to get information from him. It was really, set up that clearly with him.
That's great. That's very professional outlook, and it's really super that you can tap into a volunteer in California
Yeah.
location in South Florida and really get some assistance. And infographic is a great piece that's usually used across departments to really talk about your organization. So really a good thing to have in the tool chest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought California was really broadening our horizons from Florida. However, my next project that we are still doing, actually, we've completed, I believe it's been over 8 hours of training so far, and we're still going strong. But our next project was Salesforce training. And we had been using in the ArcWorks program Salesforce for a number of years, at least 3 to 4 years. And we were knowledgeable of the platform to an extent. Like we had a working knowledge day to day, we could enter in things, but we really are getting training on customized reports. We're getting training on how to customize Salesforce fields for our industry specifically. So that has just been really invaluable. And the volunteer is from Australia. So again, she was one of the first to apply to the project that I posted. And I did have other interviews set up with other volunteers who indicated an interest in working with us. But and I kept those interviews with the other volunteers because I just wasn't sure about the gap in time. So when we meet with her, it's the next day. It's 16 hours time difference between Australian time and Eastern Standard Time in the United States. But we worked out the logistics of that. She in order to make it work, she's agreeing to volunteer at 7:30 in the morning her time. So it's 3:30 p.m. our time. So she's a day in the future. But anyway, it's just been awesome. We primarily go through Google Meets because we were getting timed out on Zoom. We had a 40-minute time limit because none of us had a paid account through Zoom. So we go through Google Meets, we do 2 hours of training at a time. And at first we started training twice a week, but we have other like data entry stuff to do in Salesforce in between. And we were finding ourselves not having enough opportunity to do our homework in between our training sessions. So now we're doing the training once a week.
Wow, that is amazing. So management of a project, not only across the United States, but even into another country, and having that volunteer really make a difference for you in South Florida. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's a lot of management of not only getting the project started, but how you really implement that project, because this is really an in-depth project for multiple staff, right? Over a period of time.
Yes, yeah. It was originally the project I posted was training, and the project said 8 hours of training, and we've reached the 8 hours. So now I'm thinking we've kind of gone probably at this point a little bit above and beyond the initial project scope to do some more customization into Salesforce. So, and there are other users of Salesforce within our Broward that are getting the benefits of that training as well.
That's super. And that's really cutting across your whole organization. It's a tool that your organization uses and now can use better as you move along. So what's next for Arc Broward and the project scope of things to do on Catch a Fire?
Yeah, well, Catch a Fire is hosting another learning webinar on April 7th, I think.
Yes.
And anyway, I've sent out invites to people who internally have not yet used Catch a Fire to the extent that I think they could.
Mhm.
So they're getting that invite to join. Um, But beyond that, in terms of actual projects, we have an Excel training project that is going to be posted in April of 2021. We have a team member who is going to take advantage of having time management coaching. We have some on-demand webinars that some of the staff want to attend. And then actually from learning from some of the scopes of projects from my colleagues, I heard about translation services. So the fourth project that we're gonna get involved is some translation of some of our legal consent forms from English to Spanish.
Wonderful. Oh, that's really great. Well, thank you, Jody, for your time today and the work that all of you at the ARC Broward are doing to elevate your impact in South Florida. You guys are so super busy, and we're so excited to have this opportunity to support you. We at the Able Trust are really looking forward to all that you all will be doing with your strategies and your program for people with disabilities. So thank you so much for joining and sharing with everybody today about how you've really leveraged Catch a Fire to really make an impact.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you, Guinevere and the Able Trust, for really giving us this opportunity. It's been great.
It's been our pleasure. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.